Welcome to Optimal Timelines. I am your guide, Sean, in helping you to connect to your most optimal future timeline. So it's that time again. It's time for our monthly Tarotscope readings for June 2022 for the North Nodes by sign and house. Now, if you're unfamiliar with your North Node, there's going to be a link in the description box below where you can get some more information. And again, the reason I use your North Node by sign and house as opposed to your sun, moon, or ascendant sign is it's recognized in astrology that your North Node is your North Star. It's the path that you should be moving towards and learning in this lifetime. So let's get started on the readings. Okay, so this is going to be your monthly Tarotscope reading for June 2022 for everybody with their North Node in Leo and or the 5th house. And I want to invite you while I'm shuffling and connecting to open up your mind, your heart, take some deep breaths, and open yourself up to whatever messages that need to come to you. So I'm going to connect to the energies and we can begin. I call upon my spirit guides and guardians and the wisdom of my ancestors to bring forth the information that's true and correct for all who see this reading, that it may bring them the most beautiful, happy life possible and set them on their most optimal future timeline. So may it be. Okay, North Node in Leo and or the 5th house. Okay, so the spread on this side of the table represents the first half of the month from the 1st to the 15th. And then this side over here represents the second half of the month from the 16th on. I did another book divination with the book Astrology for the Soul by Jan Spiller this month. And what came up for you big time, and this has kind of been an ongoing theme like for your whole life, but really for the past several months is, in particular, this was developing like your inner child, okay, that's coming up. And in particular, developing your inner child in order to gain inspiration in your life. And that's what's playing out this month for you. There's going to be opportunities to do that. So when we talk about developing the inner child, we're not talking about being childish or immature, but it's about being playful, because you've seen very intelligent, mature people and very successful people that are very playful. They approach life as like a game. And the funny thing is, this kind of came up last month for you North Nodes in Leo or the 5th house. But in particular, the focus this time is inspiration, okay? Playfulness and inspiration. Now, most of us, if not all of us, I know very few people who don't enjoy movies, okay? Most people do. But when we see a movie, even though part of us knows that it is not real, okay, there's a thing about suspension of belief that happens. Like, in order to get into it, like, why do people with scary movies get afraid? Or why during a drama movie do people cry? Like, those people in the movie are acting, okay? The situations in the movie are not scary per se. It's all about suspension of belief. So when we see a movie, and if we are able to get into the movie, that is a very childlike thing that most of us have the ability to do. But, we don't, most of us don't apply it in other aspects of our life, okay? So it's that suspension of belief in order to get in, and that's using our imagination. Now, we're talking about inspiration and imagination. Now, being inspired, again, I remember when I was a kid walking out of movies and being like super inspired, like you just wanted to like be that hero in the movie. You'd walk out, you'd be like just high on the whole experience, And we get inspired by things. We read books, we see movies, we are inspired by people's stories. And it's because we're allowing ourselves to, be playful. We're in that playful state. And so really what you're seeing this month, what's going to play out is you're going to see very practical ways of how this can help you. And I feel like for a lot of you, you have this beautiful superpower of with your south node in the 11th house or Aquarius. You have this beautiful superpower of like super intellect or like logic or seeing things on a very practical, like logical level. And it could be holding some of you back. And I'm seeing like, it's like, again, this playfulness, okay, the Page of Cups reversed. And it might seem like some of you like being playful, again, not mature, not immature, but being playful, it might seem like frivolous or undignified, but I can tell you it actually is very, very dignified if it's done right. Because when you think of Leo, you're thinking of, a regal lion, okay? And Leo rules drama, it rules creativity, it rules like, music, art, all these things, okay? But it is very dignified in a sense because it's really like completing a person. Like when a person has the ability to be both logical and practical, but at the same time being playful, we're seeing the way this is playing out with the High Priestess, okay? Very dignified, but she is the master of both yin and yang, the black pillar and the white pillar. Not just one side, not just the white pillar of logic and reason, but the black pillar of emotions, of creativity, of the great void of the universe, And so it's very practical on a lot of levels. Now, the way this is going to play out this month is I feel like there's going to be something in this first half where it's going to require some competition at some level for you. Okay. And many of you may not be comfortable. You may or may not be comfortable with some sort of competition. I don't know where it's going to exactly play out for each one of you. Obviously, this is a general reading, but it's a competition that's going to play out somewhere in your life. Yes, it could be a job. It could be like in a family situation, but a lightly competitive situation, okay? And it's going to require you, in order to do well in this, it's going to require you to tap into that inner child. Go back, suspend logic and reason and belief, tap into the imagination. I mean, it could be anything for like you're in school or at work and you're supposed to do a creative project, a creative writing project, right? And you're like, you might be thinking, part of you is like, this is stupid. Like, why am I doing this? I'm not going to, what does this have to do with anything? But, whatever this little, like this competition is, being able to complete, or it's like a game being played of some sort, okay? it's going to require you to tap into that inner child playfulness, imagination, and inspiration. Okay. And when you can do that this first half of the month, you're going to win. I mean, I'm not saying you're going to win that competition per se, but when you can tap into that and you're getting into this and tapping into that side of inspiration, you will win. Now, I feel like a lot of you this could be difficult, and what's going to be difficult is when you are tapping into this side of you, it might bring up an overabundance of emotions and emotional energy. And that's, and that has to do with, for some reason, for a lot of you, when you're connecting the inner child, you're connecting it with emotions. And that is true to a certain extent, but I want you to remember to separate emotions from this. So you're using logic and reason in a playful way. And I think that has to do with, like, for example, when you're competing, think of a child that's competing. I remember, going to a birthday party years ago. This has just popped in my head. And there was a piñata at the party. And the girl whose party it was, was really, really happy, and it was a great party, but she had a really tough time hitting the piñata, and she was the one who wanted to break it, but she was really struggling, and some other child, was able to break it. It was like a competition, all the kids were taking swings at it, taking their turns and stuff, and she got like super upset, and it was like, she was a young child, I mean, probably like 6 years old or something. And, but that's what I'm talking about, is like when you're competing and you're bringing in those childlike tendencies, you want to leave the emotion aside. Like, it's not all about like winning necessarily, So that's one of the things I'm seeing this first half of the month is, don't get over emotional. And then the reason is for that is because with the Chariot reversed, it won't accomplish your goals. You're going to go around in circles. Okay. It's not going to get you to where you want to go. So what you want to do is get into that creative, inspirational place without getting over emotional. Okay. If that makes sense. And I feel like that's kind of where a lot of you go when you tap into your inner child. It gets you're connecting it with emotions. Okay. Now, the second half of the month, what I'm seeing is you are looking, you're going to find inspiration by simply looking for it, because there is something that's going to happen the second half of the month that is going to direct you to a place that you've been wanting to go. And even if you don't know on a conscious level, on a subconscious level, it's a place where, you want to go there. Okay. And so, but when you look at this situation that's going to happen the second half of the month, your first instinct could be to put your guard up. Okay. And part of being, open yourself up to the inner child is to keep yourself open. Okay. And when you keep yourself open, you're opening yourself up to imagination and inspiration. But this situation that's going to come up, it could be like almost like some sort of a negative situation that has to be overcome. And when the negative situation comes up, for most of you, it could be anything from like a minor annoyance or something. It's just going to require a response from you. And what could pop up this second half of the month is your response your initial response could be going back into logic, reason, putting up your guard, as a whole, like, natural response. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to stop and look at, use imagination and inspiration to get through this negative situation, okay? Your completion cards for the second half of the month are the Sun reversed and the Star reversed. Now, one of the things that these cards have in common is, for me, they're some of the few cards in the tarot deck that are not negative reversed, but it's like a delayed response or a delayed positive energy. And so, these are actually really great cards. So whatever this situation is you're really really close to a big success, as long as you can tap into, when it happens, you don't react just simply from your mind and logic and reason. You're able to tap into, get creative, get imaginative, get into that inner child of, like, problem solving type of a thing, okay? And that the success is going to be there. So what you're looking for is, in the second half of the month, to solve issues in a creative, imaginative, inspirational way. And the inspiration is going to come from what it is your heart of hearts really wants out of life. So it's going from here, from the mind and logic and reason, and coming into the emotions. What is it that you truly want and desire? That is what is going to inspire you to help you get through this situation. So it's like a test. How are you going to react? Are you going to react in an Aquarius 11th house way with just logic and reason and put your guard up? Or are you going to go into inspiration and imagination? That's simply how it is. When you go into, inspiration and imagination, things are going to work out much better for you, and you're going to see that things are going to open up in your life. This is not a frivolous skill. This is an amazing life skill that is going to help you. Go into your creativity, allow it to come out, and watch the success that's going to, come in your life and on all levels, okay? So it's that inner child. But remember, again, when you tap into that inner child, keep emotions out of it to a large extent, okay? The emotions are there just to inspire you, but not to get emotional about the playfulness in the situation, okay? So thank you so much for watching. I hope this reading resonated and made sense to you. If you'd like a personal reading, there'll be a link in the description box below. And yeah, I'd love to hear about your situation in the comments. Reach out to me. If you could hit that like button, would love to hear from you. So thanks again, and we'll see you on some more videos. Many blessings.